And my second motion would be that the Senate do admit the nominee, Professor Joash O. Amunkuitan, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, as well as the Special Advisor to Mr. President on National Assembly Matters, Senate, as well as other officials of INEC and members of the family of the nominee into the Senate as strangers. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I so move.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I second the motion that the Senate do set aside its relevant rules to admit strangers into the chamber. I so second.
Before I put the question, I've been looking for Senator Wadada. Where is he? Okay, why I said so is because he used to be on this side. So I was looking at this side, whether he's here now. But it's true. And then, 15th October, 2020, no, I wouldn't mention the year. 15th October was his birthday. 15th day of October. I won't mention the year. So on behalf of the Senate, I want to wish distinguished Senator Ahmed Wadada a very happy birthday, long life, prosperity, and many more years of service to our fatherland, Nigeria. So accept our congratulations on your birthday. And I don't know whether he's sitting, Senator Gbizagwa, is he sitting near to you? Where? Okay. Wherever he's sitting. So congratulations to him. Now we have two motions on the floor. Minority Leader of the Senate, you may wish to second the two motions. Number one. Okay, in that case, so we proceed. Those in support that we suspend our rules and accept strangers into the hallowed chamber of the Senate, and also resolve into a committee of the whole to undertake the next assignment. Can you say aye? Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The rules are suspended and strangers will now be led by the Sergeant at Arms into the hallowed chamber of the Senate, and then we resolve into the committee of the whole to undertake the next business of the day. No. Distinguished colleagues, let me, on behalf of the Senate, welcome strangers into the hallowed chamber of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I don't know, but we expect that we have before us Professor Joash Amupiton, PhD and Senior Advocate of Nigeria, a nominee for the office of National Chairman of Independent National Electoral Commission. We also directed that his immediate family, the wife and the children, could also be allowed into the chambers on an important day like this. And then if we have members of the Independent National Electoral Commission, particularly the national commissioners, accompanying him, they could also indicate so that we can recognize their presence. So distinguished Senator Lado, the presidential advisor on Senate matters, you can do that by getting us the names for recognition. But in the meantime, I would like to invite Professor Joash Amopitan to please take the stand. For the okay. So we have alongside him Barrister Favor Amopitan. We have Marvelous Amopitan. And then we have, is it Beloved Amopitan? I don't know. Is that Beloved? Okay, wonderful name. Beloved Amopitan is also part of the entourage of the Prof. So, Prof, you are welcome to the hallowed chamber of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We are expected, in line with the Constitution, to ask you a few questions. But permit me to mention to members that vetting and fingerprinting had been done by the Office of the Special Advisor, the Department of State Security had also done security vetting, and the Prof has been cleared. And the Prof has also gone to the Office of the Inspector General of Police, where proper fingerprinting search has been done on him. And from the report I have, the subject does not have any criminal record with the police as of date. And so, Prof, you are welcome to the Senate. Just give us a brief resume. And not really because we are a very compassionate and people-oriented chamber, we always provide a seat nearby and a bottle of water. So the moment you feel that you want to take water or you want to sit down, just indicate. We will allow you to have a brief sitting, and then you come back, because we don't want any incidents here. Our hospital is not yet ready. So you are welcome to the Senate. Give us a brief resume of yourself.
That was 1978, where I was appointed by the government, not the member. After obtaining my LLB, PLD free, went to consequent on lots of nationals. On graduation, correspondent. Faculty. Principally because I was the best graduate. Again, as a professor, actually, not. Remember vividly the recommendation. Put it. Let's just run the whole capture now. When it's very young. By the time that over the years, I progressed. Yeah. Also enrolled for the master's law. Also, programs 1993, 2008. Especially white house. Right? Let's that. Offer a temporary another temporary place that we are studying. So the idea of the role as a lecturer was to be very of God, because by ascendancy, I'm happy to report that I was the first professor. Not just the first professor of law, also by the harvest, senior advocate. Also going to mention that in 2003, United States government also considered me appointed in scholar for the university. There I spent 9 months touching on cutting edge. I served the University of Jos, being the head of the Department of Public Law, also being the Dean of the Faculty of Law. I happen to be one of the longest serving deans, because I served for 6 years, while ordinarily you are supposed to serve for 4. But because I was paid up one, take the university faculty to another level. Because during my tenure as the Dean of the Faculty of Law, first time, Faculty of Law became top best person, became the top best faculty Kenya's ranking. And I was able to also work on scholars that get the grant of $150,000 from the Carnegie Corporation of the US. That was one of the major breakthroughs at the Carnegie Corporation, leading to establishment of ICT, High Legal Research for Lawyers, Faculty of Law University. That was the very first, not only in Nigeria, but of course. English senators, I was appointed senior advocate penalty and also appointed as deputy vice chancellor administration October 20. Position I held out to senators and the body appointed or have to use that. First to see yes. So just one day I also was appointed chairman of council. Mission was to run the university of an INEC, one of the best. I began career and was substantial member of the Nigerian Bar Association, all teachers, but others are like some of this point. Importantly, also want to pause that I have also been parliament, national participated severally, some of very policy, the nice idea. Some of which one was a consultant. I own those that think of experts from all over the world. Very experience. That no system parliament by completed. Also privileged excellency. Thus, and the keynote address of the 8th House of topic that is tied to the African levels of 8th House of Representatives. First was respect 80 for 100 members. At the team, I also presented a paper sometime in 2008 on politics, governance, challenges. And four was a member of the 8th House of Reform, where worked on evaluation, experts, together by the National Assembly. Due form of 500. And also, as the bills eventually led to amendment some of those laws. I also assisted on the 28th Act under the House Passes bills, now bills, by
The floor is open. Deputy Senate President.
Thank you, Mr. President, and my distinguished colleagues. First of all, let me congratulate the nominee for being so nominated by Mr. President. Mr. Chairman, I spent the whole of yesterday reading through this resume. And what I discovered is that the nominee has a wonderful pedigree, wonderful track record as contained in this document to occupy this office. And I went on to follow up with trying to substantiate, make sure that what I read, all what is contained here are true. And I asked questions, talked to some of the lecturers in the university. The VC is my friend. And everything was confirmed to be true. So he has the necessary track record and pedigree to my judgment. But I want to ask a question. INEC has, or everybody think of that, and it's true, that the ability of INEC to conduct credible elections, the ability, independence of INEC is sine qua non to achieving that. Independence of INEC is sine qua non to making sure that it has the ability to conduct free and fair elections. Now, going by your wonderful pedigree, showing that you are a man of integrity, someone who has the capability to occupy this office, how will you bring this to bear in making sure that your operations, your operational decisions, your policy decisions are not influenced by external forces? Please, just give me step-by-step description on how you can achieve this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Every question must be concise. Only the Deputy Senate President has the latitude to ask extended questions. So, Prof, you have a paper. You have to note so that you can take as many questions as possible before you answer. But because of the person of the Deputy Senate President, please proceed and answer.
Very grateful, Senate President, for questions. I make under the Constitution 155 and INEC, and one of the commissions that was of the problems we had. Constraint. And I want to call this balance of quality and power as granted autonomy, but it's possible we are able to grant it. So that let us well as a boss use our knowledge. Sure. Yes. Have I noticed? What are those factors?
Distinguished Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues and Mr. Nominee. For me, Mr. President, where you come from matters to me. Your pedigree, your antecedents also matter to me. I must confess that you have a very intimidating resume. I want to ask, you have indicated here most of the areas and activities that you have engaged in for the first time. For the first time. And I want to say that, as they say, you have satisfied the requirements
Use your campaign voice. Let's ask questions before conclusion.
Okay. You have satisfied, as they say, both in character and learning, the requirements for the award of the numerous degrees that you have now. One of the very critical things or concerns of Nigerians, and indeed the international community, is the integrity of elections. Which could make or mar democracy. I want to ask, with your wealth of experience, can you share with us what accountability mechanisms that you will expand or introduce into our electoral process to allay these concerns? Mr. President, that is my question.
Distinguished Senator Lalong.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Once again, Simon Lalong, representing Plateau South, and also Plateau State, where you are coming from. Chairman, Committee on INEC and Electoral Matters. Prof, I won't call it intimidating resume, but exemplary resume, because you were one time, you were my dean. You supervised my dissertation. You were a great judge. No, it's not disqualified. I was a student, ordinary student.
Senator, distinguished Senator Lalong, I didn't hear you well.
Sir, I said in the course of my studies, I also went through him.
When
I was reading master's degree, but I didn't go to University of Jos. I went to ABU and came back, did masters. I met him briefly. I saw him briefly there as a dean. He was the dean. Huh? He was the dean. So he didn't supervise me directly. He was the dean.
Senator Lalong. Please do not bias the minds of members. No. Why I'm saying this is, if you went through him,
yes,
or you went under him, however you did, all we want to know, from what you are saying, you want to attest to his character.
Yes, sir.
So just say, I attest to his character, then you sit down so that others can ask questions.
Thank you. Yes, Prof. There is a very important thing. as a professor of evidence, one of the thorny issues that came up in the last election was the issue of beavers and IRF platform, which were game changers. But we also saw operational challenges in the last elections. Given your understanding of the terrain, how do you intend to ensure these technologies function optimally going forward? That's my question, Mr. President.
Prof, can they take more questions? Or do you want to answer those two? Yeah?
I leave it to your discretion, sir.
You take more questions? Because I noticed that almost the entire Senate is eager to ask you questions. And they all represent senatorial districts and constituencies. And the questions they are asking you are the concerns of Nigerians, of their constituents. Because of the fact that they were participants in the various elections. So they are very familiar. And all they want to know is whether things will change. So he's saying that the beavers and the IRF were meant to be game changers. But instead, in some instances, they presented difficulties and problems that could not be solved by the ordinary people. So if you become the national chairman of INEC, what do you hope to do? But that is very technical. I think you should get into the office, study it, study the flaws, and from there, you will know what to do. But if he has an answer, okay, based on the fact that you have been working with us from the House of Representatives, so you have an idea. So proceed to answer. I've been overruled by my
And also
bosses.
a professor of evidence.
Distinguished senators, the purpose of introducing tax and IRF was to ensure the integrity of the election. That is the purpose of technology. I believe what happened in 20 was a glitch. But before we went into it, my own understanding of the constitutional courts found that there was no clarity purpose of IRF. Not until the Supreme Court came out to say that IRF was not that electronic commission system. That's not valuable. INEC was supposed to that Paris was the loss made by the Senate, not do away with one man. However, INEC was supposed to write checks and balances. But when you this one has nobody that everything. So I have to articulate this. I'm giving the opportunity. See, what is actually wrong? Whether we have what it takes now, because it is not just INEC, have other agencies, the service people have to work together so that the technology that everybody will. I want to believe that that's that. What is especially the logistic election itself. So that don't know the problem. So find proper strategy. What problems head on? Like one example, logistic problem. Buy on. One of the very things when you see them, they are old. And when they go home, when they go they want to go back. So they are buying on waiting. But vision is not to transport. Now to hire machine and so we need to take INEC has to go home.
So, Prof, you are saying that when they drop the materials at the various units, they hardly come back to pick the results. So some of our results must have been forgotten.
The results are not forgotten, sir. But you find that enough that as soon as the election is over, so long, you have to even make the other elections. Process to get there very late. And so sometimes get there planning for the population officer. Actually, logistics. Right, logistics. Transport.
Senator Yari. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. President of the Senate, distinguished colleagues. Prof, congratulations for this tax that's coming out of you, more especially where we're heading to in the next 1.5 years. My question is on the budget utilization and maybe to explain to the Senate how transparently we will be, more especially during the upcoming major election. The budget of INEC, if you look at it, election after election, it's not going like inflation. Maybe the inflation of this year may be 18%. It will grow by next maybe with 1.0% or 0.5%. But the INEC budget is growing by like double. So how do you intend to transparently, judiciously utilize, apply the funds we're going to approve to you for the major election? Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Goje.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Mohammed Njimo Goje, presenting Gombe Central, Gombe State. Mr. Nominee, I also join my colleagues in congratulating you and wishing you sounding success in this very difficult job. There are these recurring accusations against the role of the security agencies during elections, even though we know that we can't do elections without them. The security agencies are the necessary partners with the success and progress of elections, but there's this widespread belief that they collude in trying to make things difficult, particularly for some people some parties or people that they don't like, to the extent of making people to see the elections as not really transparent. They intimidate and collude in altering results or pushing away people from elections. Some people have, in some polling stations, you find that, especially during collection centers, you find that they cordon off the place, they allow those they want to allow in, they prevent those they don't want to be inside the collection centers. As the chairman of INEC, how do you now handle this issue of security agencies so as to ensure the integrity of the elections, that all parties will be satisfied with the performance of INEC? Thank you.
Senator, former Speaker, former Governor, Tamboa.
Mr. President, my respected colleagues, and the nominee, I am Amin Waziri Tamboa. I represent Sokoto South Senatorial District. Mr. Nominee, I wish you well, and I reserve the congratulations until you serve your tenure, and I hope and pray that you'll be able to successfully carry out your duty, and at that point, I'll come home and congratulate you. Having gone through your resume and knowing you personally, I want to know your views on areas that you think require amendment in the Electoral Act as it is today, that will improve on the outcomes of elections and the integrity of elections in Nigeria. I believe that you have worked on the Electoral Act before and you have the experience. You should be able to highlight these areas so that may guide eventually what we are going to do here in the amendment of the Electoral Act. Thank you.
Distinguished Senator Ningi.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Abdul Ningi, and I represent Bauchi Central, Bauchi State. Let me join the Senate President in welcoming you, Professor George. Let me begin by saying you were born in 1967. That makes you a middle-aged person. That tells you that your golden years is still ahead of you. This position that you've been nominated for, you have now become the attention of Nigeria and the international community. And looking at your resume, in particular on page 11, Academic Professional Awards, you mentioned Richard Akinjide for Best Overall Student of 1987, late Carly Brown Peterside, prize for the Best Overall Law Student, University of Jos, prize for the Best Overall Student, Fulbright Scholarship, visiting researcher at the University of Iowa, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, and Dr. Teslim Award of Meritorious Service. The agency that you are about to take over is not a stranger to professors. Professor Henry Wosu, Professor Jega, and Professor Yakubu, Professor Iwu, and so on and so forth. What that tells you and tells Nigeria, the issue is not about academic excellence. It has to do with someone's upbringing, his forthrightness, his fairness, and his patriotism, and of course, the love of this country. As a member of Electoral Committee, courtesy of the Senate, we have traversed this country. And one of the highlights of our public interaction is the demand for transmissions of results real time. And that encapsulates a lot of logistics, but more particularly about the mindset of the leader of that agency. What do you understand by transmission of results real times? And do you think, just like most Nigerians think, that this is tenable, this is achievable? What is your position about transmission of the real times? Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Ojo Zakalo.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Oji Uzokalo. I represent Abia North of Abia State Senatorial District. Mr. President, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Nominee, thank you for coming, and my question will be very brief to you because your resume have shown. When I got this resume, I thought I was going to go back to school. I asked the person, is there a CV? He said yes. The young lady that brought it, I said, for you? He said yes. And I was surprised. But knowing you as a professor, let me go straight to the question. One persistent challenge that have been of late is the deployment of materials and personnel. Knowing the vastness of our nation and the complexity of the country, tell us, what strategy will you bring to manage the complexity of the country, especially on the areas that have bad terrains and security challenges? These areas are areas that you must not allow any Nigeria to be disenfranchised because they have security challenge, or because people will tell you, oh, that place is hilly, that place is far. What is your strategy? Is threatening to give free, fair, and just election that will be acceptable by all Nigerians. Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Ositangu.
Thank you, Mr. President and my colleagues. My name is Ositangu Ugu. I represent Enugu West. Prof, I'll congratulate you, but I'm sure you have had enough accolades. So I'll go straight to the question. No matter how beautiful our electoral policies and procedures are, the integrity of the people who carry out this election matters. Now I'm going to talk about the integrity of the people who either are INEC staff or ad hoc staff, who are going to be the people who conduct these elections. Prof, how are you going to set up an internal mechanism that is going to deter the people conducting elections from compromising? How are you going to prevent it? And what mechanism are you going to put in place to detect when such compromises occur? And finally, how are you going to ensure that there is adequate punishment, maybe working with the National Assembly to prosecute those who are entrusted with the responsibility to conduct the election, but who goes back to compromise the election? Thank you very much.
Well, very good question. I wish it came last so that you can reassure all Nigerians. But it's a very good question. Very, very good question. Because Prof can only administer, but the real nitty-gritty is with those who are vested with the responsibility of going to the nooks and crannies of the nation. What they do and bring back can either mar his administration or promote his administration. So, Prof, it's at that stage, I think you should answer together with the other questions so far asked.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the Senate President, distinguished senators. May I respond by taking the last question first? I think that is a major concern. Major concern. One of the things that we have to do to work out a mechanism that we can use prayer of humans. First place, making this and the people who are going to work also appreciate the fact that they are there first. Because we have made the law, that should be done. So one of ways that committee that I have an audit what has happened, because there have been several cases that have been reported and not doing. Some have been taken to court, like Bayelsa State. There were some cases like that. Where some people are convicted. So I'm going to follow through for that cause. Also to say